Okay, here we go. A trio of cruise passengers missing in the Virgin Islands. We also have a cruise ship now classified as a crime scene, and MSC Cruises has officially responded as to why they told big-time cruise tubers Ben and David to stop filming on one of their cruise ships. Plus, there's a bunch of wild speculation going along with that. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for your face. For your face on Wednesday, the 13th of March, 2024. And the first story is disturbing. It's a scary story. We have 3 Colombian nationals who have gone missing from the Norwegian Sky. They exited the cruise ship in Tortola and they did not return to the cruise ship. Now we have officials in the British Virgin Islands asking for help to locate them. Interesting story. You know, you wonder, did these folks stay in Tortola to take care of whatever, things they wanted to take care of? Or did something nefarious happen to these folks? Why are they not back on the cruise ship, and where are they at right now? The Royal Virgin Island Police Force circulating this photo of these 3 individuals, Giancarlo Espino Cano, Pamela Mesa Escobar, and Jessica Johanna Marin Ramirez. If you're down there and you see these folks, the Royal Virgin Police, the Virgin Royal Police looking for them, I hope everything is good. I hope it's not a bad situation and that these folks will be located. And talking about immigration and Norwegian Cruise Line, ironically, cruise news story number 2, Norwegian Cruise Line is advising their passengers that are cruising to ports in Mexico to have themselves a passport. Now, we know that Mexico is one of those destinations that fall under that closed loop travel, so that if you don't have a passport, if you're a U.S. citizen, you don't have a passport, you can travel from the U.S. to Mexico with just your birth certificate. As long as you're leaving and returning from the same cruise port, that's fine. But Norwegian Cruise Line saying, well, technically that's okay, but you really should have a passport because there's some interesting rules in Mexico. Let's do a for instance. Let's say you leave Miami and you're going on a Western Caribbean cruise. Let's say that your first stop is in Cozumel, Mexico, and for some reason you don't make it back to the cruise ship in Cozumel, but you want to meet the cruise ship at the next port of call in Costa Maya. If you don't have a passport, this is going to be a costly hassle. You're going to have to pay for a visa. You're probably going to incur some fines just for transportation from Cozumel to Costa Maya. And then if you want to get back to the United States, say from Cozumel without a passport, well, that's a problem also. You're going to have to work with the U.S. Embassy to be allowed to fly from Cozumel. I say it all the time, a best practice if you're going to travel at all, get that passport. It's good for 10 years. It's not that expensive, spread out over 10 years, and it's going to eliminate a lot of these issues. I know that we have folks that watch the show globally, and every time I talk about U.S. citizens not having passports, they're like, how can you not have passports? Why do U.S. citizens? It's not that important to us. Like, our country is so huge that we travel from state to state without any documentation requirements. And the way we travel from state to state, I would say, is analogous to the way people in Europe go from country to country, where they do need documentation. For many people, they don't ever travel internationally, and a passport is not needed. But this story is a great reminder, a great initiator to say, if you are going to travel internationally, get a passport. For goodness sakes, you won't regret it. Cruise news story number 3, just a quick correction from yesterday's show, a story I completely butchered. I think I had pirate brain. I had Arvia on the brain. I was talking about a P&O cruise ship that was scheduled for refurbishment. Actually, it's the P&O Iona, was scheduled for refurbishment in March of 2025. Going to go into dry dock. Somebody asked me what dry dock is. Technically, a dry dock is something that a ship can go into where they can remove the water and work on the underside of the cruise ship. And then when they're done doing the work, they can flood that dry dock with water and float a ship back out. So a dry dock is a way to work on a cruise ship. P&O Iona was scheduled for refurbishment 2025. They have decided that they're going to delay that refurbishment until October of 2025, and therefore they've canceled 2 cruises in October on P&O Iona, and that's happening, I believe, on the 4th and the 18th of October. And so if you were on either one of those cruises, as I said yesterday, you got cancellated. Somebody asked me if cancellated is a word. You know, it's all relative. Who decides what are words and what are not words? I feel like cancellated is a word, even if I did make it up. Cancellated is like canceled, but with pizzazz. Or it's an 8-bit version of being canceled. It's like pixelated. I like it better, canceled with pizzazz. That's the big question. Are you scheduled for Iona in October of 2025, those first 2 sailings? If so, did you get cancellated? How you feeling today? There's the update. Apologies for getting it wrong, but yeah, I must have been full on pirate brain. You know what a pirate's favorite fast food restaurant is? This one's easy. Arby's. Maybe the French dip. I don't know. Cruise news story number 4, also related to a story we talked about yesterday. We talked about the violence going on in Haiti, Port-au-Prince down here. Labadee, that's the popular cruise port north of that. I said yesterday that Royal Caribbean Celebrity are not canceling stops to Labadee yet, but that they were monitoring the situations. And maybe at the very moment I was saying that, word has come out that Royal Caribbean is canceling excursions in Labadee. Labadee is like a very secure, fenced in, barbed wire fence, security guards, all-inclusive resort type vibe. And so certainly it sounds like they don't want you to go beyond that. And so any excursions at all, I guess, there in Labadee canceled, but there's still a lot to do in Labadee. They've got like one of the Caribbean, maybe the world's longest zip line. They got a mountain coaster. They got beaches. Labadee's pretty fun. So excursions canceled in Labadee in the wake of the violence there in Haiti. Cruise news story number 5, probably just selfish because I lived there and I'd been on this vessel in Nashville, Tennessee. They have a really cool paddle wheeler ship boat there called the General Jackson. It was a part of the Opryland complex, and then it became Gaylord Entertainment. It's iconic for Nashville. When I was in high school there, it was a big deal to go on the General Jackson. Well, the General Jackson does matinee cruises, nighttime cruises. You get dinner and a show. Excitingly, they're going to be doing a special cruise for the solar eclipse. This eclipse is set to happen on the 8th of April. And so you can get a ticket for the General Jackson. You can go have the lunch. You can go have the show. And they're going to have a special eclipse viewing from the boat, right there on the Cumberland River. They're going to give you special glasses. I tell you what, if I was in Nashville and I wasn't doing anything on the 8th, this is something I would probably do. Any Middle Tennessee folks there, or any fans of Nashville, do you know what the General Jackson is? Have you been on it? Do you love an eclipse? I didn't even watch the last eclipse. I might have to look at this one, not directly, but I have to check it out. Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number 6. This one's interesting. Royal Caribbean Group has reached an agreement with a company to continue being the provider of a service for its Royal Caribbean Group and Celebrity cruise ships. And we're talking about the spa. I don't know if everybody understands this, and I don't know that I completely understand this, but there's some things on the cruise ship that's not necessarily owned or ran by the cruise line. Maybe it's owned. Obviously, the hardware, the ship is owned by the cruise line, right? But the spa, maybe not. Is the spa? I don't know. The spa is one of them. The art gallery is another one. Sometimes the casino is run by non-cruise employees. And then even sometimes the shops are run by non-cruise ship employees. We got to get to the bottom of it. It'd be cool to talk to somebody that knows how does that work? Does the captain still get to tell the people in the spa what to do? I would assume yes, he's the captain, but do they report to him in a direct employee relationship? Maybe not. Fascinating. But the company that's providing the spa services is called One Spa World Holdings. And One Spa World Holdings is also the spa provider for Norwegian Cruise Line. Little cross contamination there. So it's interesting because sometimes, could you imagine this argument? Like, I like the spa on the NCL Bliss better than I like it on the Oasis of the Seas. It's the same people. They just put a different name on it. It's interesting. Spa is one of those kind of high-end items on a cruise ship. And certainly it is pretty cool to use spa services on a cruise ship, even if it is more expensive. Nothing better than a relaxing day at sea, getting a massage, sitting in a thermal suite, having your hair cut and all the things they do to you at the spa. I don't know. Are you a spa person? Do you like it? Do you feel like this company is good if you've done it with Royal or Celebrity or Norwegian? Do you avoid the spa at all costs because you got big old ugly toes? There's some people out there with ugly toes that I'm sure people sometimes with ugly toes get a pedicure and the pedicurist goes, yee. It's probably true when I take my shoes off. What do you do when it comes to the spa? Leave a comment below. Two big stories left. We got to talk about this wild crime scene thing that happened. And I want to talk more about the Ben and David story that continues to be the hottest story in cruising. Particularly, I want to talk about MSC's response a little bit, but I also want to talk about some of the wild speculation that is going around as to what exactly happened by people like myself that don't really know because we weren't there. We're just going on secondhand information. But yes, before I do both of those things, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. It doesn't cost anything, but it helps YouTube alert you when there is a new episode. Plus, you get to be a part of the Loca fam. How about that? Loca fam for life. Subscribe, notification bell. That way you don't miss out. Thank you in advance. All right, there's a story coming out from the Bahamas about a cruise passenger that was found deceased in her cruise cabin, 27-year-old woman. And, you know, that happens on cruise ships, but this has a little bit of a twist. They found cocaine with her, and now they've subsequently arrested the man that was with her. Both of these folks were from Florida. The man, 32 years old, and it's all under investigation. I don't even think the cruise ship has been revealed. This incident happened on Grand Bahamas, so that would be the Freeport port in the Bahamas. Only two ships there at the time, a Royal Caribbean ship and Margaritaville at Sea ship. No other details have been disclosed other than the fact that this happened and that there is an ongoing investigation. Yeah, hopefully get to the bottom of it. Such a tragic story that someone's lost their life, and it never seems to be good when the drugs are involved. All right, MSC has officially responded to Ben and David with an explanation as to why they were told to stop filming on the MSC World Europa. I'll tell you what the official explanation is, but before I do that, let's talk about all of the wild speculation that has been bandied about as to why it may have happened. I guess let's start with Cameragate, and I hope I'm not guilty of it. I tried to make the point in the video the other day that sometimes cruise lines will notice you if you use camera equipment that's not your cell phone. And I know that I've been on a cruise ship before and I've used a gimbal and I've gotten more attention because I've used a gimbal. I was not suggesting that Ben and David got stopped filming because they were using large gear. I don't even think they use large gear. They may use a gimbal. I've seen their small camera. They also use a handheld camera. So let's just clear that up. But there's a bunch of people out there saying, well, obviously, you know, they had a full halo rig and that's why they got, that's not the case. Again, we have the official word from MSC, and on their list, large camera was not the reason. So look, these guys are catching a little bit of flack. I've seen some of the vitriol going at them. It wasn't for the big camera, everybody, or a camera or any camera. That wasn't the official reason. I've heard other people also speculate that maybe they were directly targeted because they are a couple. Certainly MSC in the official outline of why they did this would not say that, but that's a speculation that is out there. I've also heard that, you know, maybe it's because of the privacy laws in Europe. This is a great point that was brought out by my acquaintance John over at Roller Cruiser. If you want a different take on cruising, a take that I enjoy quite a bit, go check out Roller Cruiser. It's not your average cruise vlog, and for that, I'm thankful because he's very entertaining and big-brained over there, Roller Cruiser. But he put forth a very interesting conversation about the privacy laws in Europe. I don't even think he landed on that being the reason. Of course, there was also the juicy theory that maybe some man or woman was on there coupled up with not their spouse, doing a little naughty, and maybe their tryst got captured on film. And then also, a lot of people speculated that the shutdown was retribution for the negative review that Ben and David had given MSC in the past. But I think maybe my favorite hot take on this thing came from Tracy Meyer, who posted this video, who was on MSC with Ben and David. And when I read the title, I thought maybe like she was asking, hey, were you on the same cruise with Ben and David? Maybe you can add some color to it. No, Tracy had a pretty interesting thought process. Again, not confirmed by the official reason that MSC said they asked them to stop filming, but could be closely related. She suggested that there was somebody so important on the cruise ship that had to remain in secrecy, that people could not know that this person was on the cruise ship. So important that MSC scrambled and shut down Ben and David so there would be no chance that this individual who was there in secrecy could be revealed through video. Now, like the rest of us, she doesn't know who that super secret important person is, but I did love that take. Like, you know, the first thing I thought is, do you think maybe Elvis was on that cruise ship? Maybe Ben and David caught video evidence of how old would Elvis be? Hold on, I'll be back. Maybe Ben and David could have inadvertently caught footage of the 89-year-old Elvis Presley who faked his own death and now has been living in anonymity. Finally, he goes out to the Mediterranean to take a cruise, and boom, he gets caught on YouTube. He's just there trying to, hey, could I get one of them banana and peanut butter sandwiches? Hey, I do like that take on it. But yet, in the official response from MSC, they did not cite an Elvis spotting as the reason, but again, closely related. This is what they said, and I know some people have already said that they don't believe it, but MSC said very plainly, we had a guest in the yacht club complain that they were being filmed by Ben and David. They saw them filming. Whether Ben and David filmed them or not, who knows? But they saw Ben and David filming. They felt like that they were being filmed. They raised the complaint up to management, and then management squashed it. They shut down Ben and David, and that's their explanation. They said very plainly they felt like they handled it poorly, and they also said they're not anti-vloggers. They're not anti-people filming on the cruise ship. We want you, Ben and David, to come on the MSC. We want your cohorts or colleagues, I can't remember what they called the other vloggers, come on MSC and film the cruise ship. We just handled it bad and we're sorry, but it's a challenge for Ben and David because this is the second time they've had again, I think the biggest issue is the abrasiveness of it. Cruise lines, obviously, it's their domain. The captain is the captain of the vessel. The managers, they can tell us what to do on cruise ships. And by us, I mean vloggers and other passengers. Everybody that's under the purvey, everybody that's on the cruise ship are subject to, what those supervisors and stuff say. But at the same time, as paying passengers, you should be treated with some level of respect and some, not aggressiveness. And so I think that's really where the rub is. I mentioned that a little bit yesterday, but it's a wild thing. I guess what I really want to know is, who do you think the super secret person was on the cruise ship? I just started reading a new Cobra Commander do you think Cobra Commander was on this cruise ship? I don't know. Boom, that's your cruise news. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Please hit the like button on the way out. This is Tony for La Lido Loca. Until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.
Cruise news, cruise news, cruise news, it's over.